Oh, we discussed that when we were going out on dates, that we wanted them to go to Lubavitch yeshivas, and they would have a Lubavitch chinuch. There weren't many choices, but there was the yeshiva Chaim Berlin, which was more of a Misnagdish yeshiva. But then Rabbi Teitelbaum, Oholei Shalom, opened up Oholei Torah, and he came to my home, and he said he spoke to the Rebbe. The Rebbe was masking that he should open the yeshiva, and if I would send my son there. I knew he was a very chashuv Lubavitcher younger man, and he hadn't opened up the school yet. And so I asked the Rebbe what I should do, and he told me where you learn more Limudei Kodesh.
I don't know what year, I think it was 56 or 57, 56. I was going to first grade in Bedford and Dean, and I don't know when it was, but my father came over to me and says, there's a new yeshiva opening up, are you going? I said, I'm very happy where I am. He says, because the Rebbe started it, but they say the word the Rebbe, you know, so you don't start questioning. So I said, all right. So I went. There were two people there. There was the Chaim Roitblatt, the teacher, and his son, Yosef Roitblatt.
Yossi was the first student. It wasn't even in Crown Heights. It was in East New York, where Teitelbaum lived. It was just a plain, I think, a basement at the time. They picked him up by car, and that's where my son went. He learned very well. He was very happy there.
Once you establish yourself, however big or small it is, that becomes your place. That becomes your school. That becomes your circle of friendship. You don't think about it.
Well, my sons learned in Oholei Torah. They all turned out to be good Yiras Shamayim, and they learned well, and they're successful. When the Rebbe gave Haskama and Bracha, I didn't worry. The Rabbi Roosevelt ever tell you that we lived on one floor in Brownsburg. We lived in the same apartment house on one floor, one door away from each other. And his father was a Gera Chassid. So he wanted to send his children to the Gera's yeshiva. And my father, Oholei Shalom, encouraged him to send them to Lubavitch. So when Rabbi Roosevelt took them out, his parents asked him why. He says, as far as learning, I'm not sure, but one thing I know, they'll be Elech Yidden.
I can remember some teachers. I remembered Shalom Bishetsky, yes, he was a teacher of mine. And also, I can tell you, Yisrael Meir Munitz. He was my Zaydas Chava, Motka Grona. They used to learn together. And he taught in yeshiva there. And he was also, you know, he was teaching kids, you know, and trying to impart in us Chassidishkeit, which they did, you know, you don't realize it, but you're over time. So they had, and then of course I remember Avrem Kov. You know, the teachers that they had and how they gave it over to the Bochrim of how you're supposed to behave. That's basically what it is. You know, so you learn a blood Gemara, you learn over there. What's the difference? You know, it's the nuances. You should know that the Moised Chinuch of Oholei Torah was started by the Rebbe. It's his baby, so to speak, in the face of all opposition. Michal Teitelbaum had Mesiras Nefesh, first of all, Mesiras Nefesh in Russia as a chassid, and here, fighting the whole thing. I say, you're going to a moisid that it's based on only one thing, Mesiras Nefesh. And that's what I'll tell you. You don't know about it because you're kind of much later, but you should know that the sheirish of Oholei Torah is Mesiras Nefesh. It started by the Rebbe, Al Daras HaKodesh, when no one understood what was going on and why you're doing it. And that's what I would tell Bacher. We now realize the Vaitik cook from our Rebbe, that he does something and years later you see the whole situation.
Since I'm a Kohen, the first thing is we have to bless people. We have to bless Yidden. V'yidab Adonai el Meshalema, dab al Aram v'bonim leima, keis savochu es b'nei Yisrael omalehem. Yevarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yor Adonai panav alecha v'chanecha. Yis Adonai panav alecha v'yasem l'cha sholem. V'som ishmi al b'nei Yisrael v'ani avorchem. Ich will reden auf Jiddisch. Ich weiß, alle anderen wollen reden auf Englisch. Aber ich weiß, der meiste des Altars Akkadisch, weil ich reden Mame loschen, als wie Poshet, wie betreibt zu sehen, dass die jüdischen Kinder sollen reden Jiddisch, wie der Mame hat geredet, die jüdische Sprache. Ich will sehen, als wie hier mit dem Menal Koloni von Yeshiva, will machen ein Stückchen Dugme Chaya, als viele bei Zusammenkunft von was man erste Yeshiva bei der Dinner wird mir reden ein bisschen Jiddisch. a bisschen Yiddish. Alle wissen, as kol haschol koshes. When you open up a business, everything, there's question, how would the business run? How would everything run? How would everything be done?
I thought you're speaking Yiddish.
I won't have to dilute it. There's some people that here, they're from Coram and from the Tamkin. They don't know how to speak. They don't know what I'm talking about. So I'll dilute it. So the first thing is the foundation. If you want to build a skyscraper, you have to have a good foundation. If you have a good foundation, the skyscraper can stay. And if there's not a good foundation, the skyscraper can't stay. When we had to cross the Red Sea, was Nachama and Mendel. The Jews were standing in front of the Red Sea, and they didn't know what to do. Somebody said, let's return to Egypt. Somebody said, let's go and fight with them, make a war. There were all kinds of groups of people. But Nachama and Mendel was the person that jumped into the Red Sea, and the Red Sea split. The first person that came to Oholei Torah was Yisrael Baumgarten. Yes. I meant to say Yossi. He's now a very famous rabbi in South Africa. And the parents also, Mendel Baumgarten, he was a soldier for the Rebbe. Not only did he send his son, but he stuck his neck out. And he also became a board of directors and the founding fathers of the first corporation. The name of Mendel Baumgarten is there. They have dedicated their lives. Oholei Torah is built on self-sacrifice. When a teacher, as we heard over here, the teacher comes from 9 to 5 and 9 to 5, say, goodbye, Charlie. No, the teachers are dedicated. They speak to the parents. They see that the child, we have a Shabbos program. We have an afternoon program. We have a night program. We have to see that the child should be inculcated. He should live with Torah. He should wake up with Torah. And he should love to come to yeshiva. When he asks a child that you want to go to yeshiva, I had one person told me, he said, my child had fever. And I said, your son-in-law, you can't go to yeshiva today. He said, no, I want to go to yeshiva. Don't let me stay home. That's called a kid loves to go to yeshiva. And when a child loves what he's doing, he's successful. And that's what is built on love and harmony, and Ahavas Yisrael, Ahavas HaTorah, and Ahavas Hashem. I'm indebted to the Groner family and to the Baumgarten family. Nachama, I call her Norma. I know her from Brownsville, where we move. Everything is divine providence. There's no such a thing. It's by matter of coincidence. We lived in Brownsville, the other part of Brownsville, on St. Mark's, between Howard and Ralph Avenue. We moved to 331 Hopkinson Avenue, and we didn't live on the top floor. We lived in the same floor as the Groners, apartment 7 and apartment 8. We were like brothers and sisters. We were all together united over here. And Rabbi Groner, as we heard before, he told my father that it would be, if you will want to save your children, send them to Lubavitch. He said, Baruch Hashem, he said to Lubavitch, and as you heard also before, that when my father came inside to the Mendel, he was a Slabotka. He said, Rab Shapira says, ich nehme reis meine Kinder und ich schicke sie zu Lubavitch. Sagt er, was tut ihr? Send dich sein Amarasim. Sagt mein Tate, mir hat nicht so sein Amarasim. Ich will so sein, so schäme Torah Mitzvahs. And because of that, give a look how it ended up. Divine providence again. Yosel Rosenfeld, yours truly, was a shliach in San Francisco, and the Rebbe called me back that I should come to Oholei. I'm in Oholei, and here we meet the Baumgartens, and here we meet Yosef Rosenfeld. We're all united together, and I'm indebted to the Groner family, and it was a great honor for me that the closest person to the Rebbe was the Rebbe Groner, that he read the Rebbe's letter, and thank you all. And this should be a dugma chaya, how a person should act toward Oholei, and they are to be the dugma chaya that they gave in fire and Wasser, and God helps them. And the Eibishter said, and the Rebbe says in the letter, that since Oholei is matchila riba, that means you can jump on a rope. If you can't make it, you say you're going bottom of the rope. So you have to go matchila riba to jump on top of the rope and try to make it. That's where, and also, so that's the whole institution. We go matchila riba. We even, in all difficulties, we take the highway, not the bottom way. And with there, all the people that donate Oholei, and all the teachers, and all the people and staff that are working in the faculty and administration, God will give them health, wealth, and happiness, and long life, and may Mekabel Mashiach Tzidkenu, the court of Mamish. Amen. Somebody has to read it.
On behalf of my family, I would like to thank the Yeshivas Oholei, in particular Rabbi Rosenfeld. And we took it, it's not our honor, it's the honor of our parents, who were, as we heard before, the Mesiras Nefesh. I just want to mention about my parents, that in the early 50s and 60s, when the Rebbe spoke and pleaded that he wanted shluchim to go out to start shlichus, my father, my parents pleaded with the Rebbe, and they said, we're ready to go. Anywhere you want us to go, we're ready to go. And twice the Rebbe said to my parents that your shlichus here is in Crown Heights. And they took on the task of fulfilling the wishes of the Rebbe. And I look around this room, many of you are recipients of my parents' open home. And this is what shluchim are. My parents were real soldiers of the Rebbe. Thank you again.